Hi guys, I think some people in the Conservative Party believe that Kemi Badenoch is the next Boris Johnson, a high-risk strategy. These words were used by somebody who seems to like cosplaying as the former Prime Minister, that being Michael Fabricant. So the ex-MP told Times Radio that his party needed somebody to shake things up, be a bit different. Now he was asked if Badenoch would be able to avoid the recent gaffes she's made, and he said no. However, while the right-wing media will no doubt be very kind to the new Tory leader, those planning her downfall may be much closer to home.
When you look at Kemi Badenoch, she is known for missteps, and sometimes when she makes those missteps, notably when she said that maternity pay was excessive at the Conservative Party conference, she sometimes turns around and tries to blame other people for those mistakes. Do you think she's going to be able to get away with that as the leader of the Conservative Party?
No, she can't. She's going to have to be much more careful with what she says. But, yes, in a way, Kemi Badenoch is a high-risk strategy, but perhaps we need a high-risk strategy in order to win back the next general election. What she realizes very clearly is that there's got to be a clear set of policies, and we've got to address issues such as migration. Otherwise, the right will consistently beat Labour at general elections, but it'll be split between the Conservative Party and Reform. So unless the Conservative Party can actually replace Reform, that doesn't mean adopting all of Reform's policies, far from it. But unless people can see that it's worth voting for the Conservative Party, it's all academic because we won't get back into power.
Oh God, they're still obsessed with immigration. They still believe immigration is the priority for the British people. It's not. God, is there anyone in the Conservative Party who has their head screwed on and realises it's the cost of living crisis, it's the NHS? Those are the priorities of the British people, not immigration, or not immigration to the extent that most Conservatives believe it is. You can't manufacture this type of policy into the minds of the public. You can't convince people, look, the cost of living crisis is nothing to be concerned about. The NHS is nothing to be concerned about. You really should be concerned about immigration. And this attempt to bring people back from Reform UK, it's insane. Because the Conservatives are running on a platform, vote for us, we'll bring down immigration. But you had been in power for 14 years and immigration increased. So if somebody wants immigration brought down, why would they vote for the Conservatives over somebody like Nigel Farage who's saying, I will stop the boats tomorrow? Now, he doesn't have to explain how. He can say, I will do it. The Conservatives said that they would do it. We gave them a chance and they failed. Give me a chance and I will succeed. That's all Farage has to do. How does a Conservative compete with something like that? Especially if it's somebody who's in the Conservative Party now as leader who was in a previous administration. I said this before, if the Conservatives want to really move away from the disaster of the past, they need to have somebody fresh, a new face, somebody unknown. Maybe somebody who joins the Conservative Party today, wins a by-election next year. That would be the ideal candidate because it's somebody who can distance themselves from the previous administrations. But we're not going to see anyone like that, I don't think. Now, on the other thing he mentioned here, which I disagree with him on, is this idea that, she won't be able to get away with gaffes. The right-wing media will carry a lot of water for Kemi Badenoch. They will protect her. Now, they will protect her until, I believe, people within the Conservative Party decide we've had enough of Kemi Badenoch, she needs to go. Then the knives will come out. Now, I think she'll be okay for a while, but she's not a good leader. She's not a competent politician. Look at her gaffes. Look at the ridiculous rhetoric we've heard from her when it came to Brexit or when she was the business secretary. She's not a competent politician. And I think it's going to be a massive mountain for her to climb, uniting the Conservative Party, because you have the One Nation Tories who sort of sat on the sidelines towards the end of this leadership campaign because their guy was gone. So they have nothing, they have very little to invest in the new leader, especially if they're not somebody they supported. They may come around and say, look, we have to back the new leader anyway. But then you have the Robert Jenrick faction, who are not very happy with the new leader, and they're waiting for her to slip up. They're waiting for their opportunity to replace her. And because this is all happening now, you're going to have a long time. A week is a long time in politics. 4 or 5 years is an eternity. And they're going to say, look, we'll try out Kemi Badenoch for a while, but as soon as she slips up, let's get rid of her and put in Robert Jenrick or one of our guys. That's what you're going to see. And because she's not very competent, because she's not a true leader, I think she's going to struggle. And it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be a year from now where she's eventually replaced because she's not able to unite the party. The party going forward will be like rats in a sack. You have the One Nation Tories who've sort of walked away from all of this, and then you have the far right wing or two far right wings, you could almost say, who are pandering to Nigel Farage on the issue of immigration. When, once again, as I keep saying, immigration is not a priority of the British people. It's going to be entertaining. Make sure to invest in some good popcorn. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.